there you are. You are right there where that green arrow is. And you're going to recognize that as a bullish or a bearish thing. It is crazy how these markets work. Remember when the Bitcoin ETF was finally being approved back in January? Everyone thought at that moment it was game on, it was time for Moon, but price crashed right after that, like 20%. But here's the thing, under the surface, the signal was there for the entire industry. The 50-week moving average, even from a technical perspective, was sitting above the 200-week moving average. It was a macro shift of momentum. Now, the Grayscale basket ETF with ADA in there just got approved. And guess what? Cardano just crossed its 50-week above the 200-week moving average. Altcoins are setting up to follow Bitcoin's footsteps, just as the Fed gets ready to pivot and the money printers come back on. This is very simply where cycles are made. Do not be the one who sleeps through it. And there it is. There's the approval order for Grayscale's GDLC to convert into an ETF. This is their digital large cap fund that holds Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Cardano. Final deadline was tomorrow. And what is crypto doing? Just go look at an ADA chart, for instance. It's a red weekly candle. Go look at an Ethereum weekly chart. It's a red weekly candle. What is going on right now? Hit the subscribe, hit the like on the way in. If you're not in our intelligence system, please check it out. If you're a macro investor, powerful risk models and exit planners. Now is the time to strategize. I posted this a bit ago. The SEC just approved conversion of the Grayscale Digital Large Cap Trust into an ETF. Send it lower, because after it happened, that's what happened. So I want to discuss altcoins in this video. More specifically, I want to go over the Cardano charts, a very big indicator on the weekly, but even with the price action that is happening right now, I just want to say, I know this is not fun. Let's just put it that way. But I just want to say, what is happening right now is something we've been waiting for. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. I'm not trying to offer copium or hopium, but this is unfortunately the state of crypto across cycles. This is what happens. We are in one of those moments. So let's start. I want to just kind of go over the news, right? We see this Grayscale GDLC is approved to convert into an ETF, which is massive. And there it is. With that being said, though, I want to bring this to attention. That is that kind of basket ETF, right, for Grayscale. But we have a ton of different ETFs in play right now. All of these ETFs. And here's what's going on with those. For altcoins, Bloomberg's ETF approval odds updated 95% for XRP, Solana, and LTC. Doge, ADA, DOT stand at 90%. It's bullish for alts, in my opinion. And if you just look at this, everybody, the altcoin ETFs are coming. So before we dive into the specifically Cardano charts, I really just want to speak to that for a moment. Because in the intro, I was basically pointing out how, and let me change this to a daily. This is Bitcoin on the daily chart. When Bitcoin ETF got approved, right, I think it was January 10th, right? I think it was January 10th, somewhere like right here, right? Bitcoin fell 20% in the coming days. And so, especially in the short term, when it comes to something like altcoins, we're on the verge of altcoin ETFs being approved. And I'm not saying, hey, we're going to fall for days and then we're going to bounce. Maybe we fall for weeks. I don't know how this is going to play out or shape up. But I will say this, Bitcoin fell 20% after the ETF approval, but it was laying the groundwork on the macro. And the other thing that was happening with Bitcoin, I found this very interesting on the macro, was at that moment when the Bitcoin ETF came into play, if I go back to the weekly chart at that moment, we had this 50-week moving average crossing above the 200-week moving average. Bitcoin was already escaping the bear market. Bitcoin was already making a very nice move out of the bear market, as you can see, and up like almost 200%, but it was just setting up for the explosive move towards all-time highs. Where are altcoins right now when they're getting their ETF narrative coming into play? They're right where Bitcoin was. And I'm not saying this altcoin market cap chart is having that 50-week crossing above the 20-week, but we start looking at specific altcoins like Cardano, we're going to see that. But what I'm saying is altcoins, if you look at the total crypto market cap chart excluding Bitcoin, they've still not broken all-time highs. They're still around 50% away from all-time highs. So that's why it's important, I would say, in my opinion, to really dissect what is going on the specific altcoin charts. In this video, what I want to do is kind of discuss what's going on in terms of Cardano. So this is the big indicator on Cardano, that 50-week moving average crossing above that 200-week moving average. This has taken so long for this move to happen. I mean, look how overextended to the downside Cardano moving averages were, the 20 and the 50, away from the 200. So this entire pivot out of the bear market has had to happen, and it has been just a very long journey for the 50 to even reach, once again, the 200. This volatility to the downside has helped kind of bring that 200 down. This is, in my view, when we have moving averages like this coming together, not only bullish, but this is just compression. And I really genuinely think with the state of crypto right now, we are waiting for the money printers. We're waiting on interest rates. This has been an extended business cycle of quantitative tightening most have not been prepared for. But while we're waiting for that pivot into a bullish environment for risk on assets like altcoins, I also think there's this sense of suppression for big money institutions as they get lined up and prepared to basically accumulate and launch altcoin ETFs. This is what's happening right now. So when we look at a chart like this, right, on the weekly, we have very nice, healthy compression, but we do have this signal, the 50-week happening, just crossing above the 200-week. ADA has not had its, single ETF approved yet, but it's in this basket. It essentially is, realistically, its first approval just happened, right, in that Grayscale basket. And we have, just like Bitcoin did, the 50 crossing above that 200. What I want to talk about is the daily chart, because I know there's this sense of this is just not fun. And I know the sense because I'm there with you. But that's why I follow the data, and that's why I anticipate even these things. What I want to do is I want to show you exactly what I mean by that. I want to show you a clip from April 10th. This is almost 3 months ago. Just check this out. This is ADA. ADA was around, what is that? I don't even know. 60 cents, 61 cents. And when we go to a daily chart, just keep in mind, just because all that bullishness is there doesn't mean, if we want to look at just to kind of get a visualization, it doesn't mean like we're not like right here, right? And just look at that. This is months of just choppy, sideways, absolutely brutal. So keep that in mind. This isn't even so much a technical analysis video as it is like a, you know what? Things are bullish, but please be ready. So that was that April capitulation, right? And if we go look at the chart, that was like right back here. And we were kind of taking the fractal from that previous dip right back there. And we can just do it again, right? Let's take that capitulation in August 2024, bring it over, and let's take it to the, the capitulation in April, and just look at it. It's not exact, right? But the choppiness of it, the sideways of it, just the patience that is involved in that fractal from that August swing low onwards, it was just sideways and choppy. And I'm not saying we're about to break out, July 9th or whatever this is showing, July 10th. It might be choppy for another month. But I'm just saying this entire move that we've been in, right, from this swing low, meaning we're escaping and then we're coming back to test lows, this is exactly what we've anticipated and we've been discussing, because guess what? This is what ADA does. It capitulates, tries to escape, and then it's just choppy again. I've talked about this a lot on the YouTube channel. So that's where we are right now, right? So we can continue to track the price action of ADA. I think what would be probably most meaningful would be to track the RSI. Are we going to start getting some bullish divergence and kind of an uptrend in terms of the slower moving momentum oscillator, which is this RSI right here? If we start seeing that, that could be a hint of finally some momentum to the upside. But besides that, it's kind of just like on the weekly chart, if we get momentum to the upside, what is happening at this insane area of moving averages on the weekly? Because we have a confluent area of 65 cents, which is the 200 and the 50. And then we have the 20, which is right at like 69 cents. So, and notice this 200-week moving average, it continues to be the bull market doors. We're going to just follow the 200-week moving average every week, wherever that is. That's the biggest resistance for ADA to get above before I start kind of just talking more bullish confirmation for a macro bullish cycle perspective. But that's around 65 cents. So that's the question for now for ADA. Can ADA make its way to that area to test, and what happens on the weekly chart when it does that? Other than that, it's the same thing every bottoming out type of formation for ADA. Sideways, sideways, sideways. But as I started the video, here's altcoin charts. You're either here in this crypto market and you're either bullish or you're bearish, right? I genuinely think there's not too much to be in between, because we know what's going on in the crypto cycles. We know what's going on fundamentally. We know what's going on with legislation and what's in the pipeline, what's about to happen. We know what's going on from a Fed monetary pivot, right? The business cycles. The markets are very much anticipating quantitative tightening slowing down and interest rates coming down. So we know these things are playing out. It's kind of like however you want to play this, bullish or bearish. As far as all the data as it comes together, I just know where I am. And I am very much on that bullish aspect of things. So I wanted to kind of give a roundabout just look at the charts right now. This does not mean that the bottom is absolutely in and we can't test previous lows, right? I mean, ADA's really swing low in terms of these previous capitulations right around 51 cents. That's a few pennies away. So if that happens, if we're testing those areas, it would be very similar to what happened back here. But if we're going lower, let's keep an eye on those momentum oscillators like the RSI on the daily. I think will be very helpful. And for me, I'm just trying to hang in there. I'm just trying to stay steady, cool, collected, and unemotional. So these are my thoughts today in terms of the markets. Again, there's not a ton going on, but I wanted to kind of bring this perspective to you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. If you're not in the intelligence system, go check it out right now. The link below. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.